It's 2025 and the San Diego real estate market is getting off to an extremely slow start. This is the slowest January we've seen in San Diego since before the pandemic. What does that mean for pricing and inventory? We're going to answer those questions in this week's San Diego real estate update for January 16th, 2025. I'm Jon Schwartz, California's 1% homebuyer agent. Look, the less you have to pay your agent, the more you're able to offer the seller of the home you want, and that's how you win it. Learn more about working with a 1% commission agent at jonsch.com. That's JONSCH.com. Now let's get into the data. All right, we're looking at the latest weekly print from Redfin for the San Diego metro market. And this week, I wanted to start here with median days on market. As you can see, we're starting the year at 37.7 for our median days on market. That's 12 and a half days more than the same week last year. That's almost 2 weeks. It's taking almost 2 extra weeks to sell a home in San Diego than this same week the previous year. As you can see, this is the slowest start of the year. 2024 was down here. 2023 was down here. 2022 was down here. Now, 2021 is not on this graph, but 2021 was a smoking hot year from beginning to end. I would guess days on market was somewhere around here, which would mean if we ever started the year more slowly than we're starting this one, it would have to have been pre-pandemic. Just to put this in more perspective, the beginning of 2023 was just after rates had doubled. Rates spent most of 2022 climbing from an average of 3.5% to an average of 7%. And when 2023 started, prices had just tanked and really no one wanted to get into the market. And the market in San Diego is even slower right now than it was then. So what does this mean for things like pricing and inventory? Let's get into it. The median sale price of a home in San Diego is starting the year at $881,000. Now that's 5% over the same week last year, but $69,000 below the peak we hit in summer 2024 of $950,000 for a median San Diego home. Let this be a reminder of how advantageous it is to buy in the winter if you're able to. The median San Diego home, which would have cost you $950,000 last summer, cost you just $881,000 this January. And looking at the median price of a new listing in San Diego, well, it's pretty unclear whether we should expect home prices to be going up or down. We start the year over here at $891,863. And what I notice is that in December, we had this crazy seesawing of median list prices from $901,000 up to $925,000, down to $898,000, back up to $920,000, and now down to $891,000. Now, list price is usually a barometer for where agents think the market is going. And with this seesawing over the past 4 or 5 weeks, what I'm seeing is that us agents in San Diego really don't know where the market is going this January and February. Let's see if the inventory stats can give us a clue. New listings start the year at 265 this week. That's up 5.9% from the same week last year. Obviously, more listings means more inventory, means downward pressure on pricing. Homes sold starts the year at 391. That's 16.9% over this time last year. So even though 5% more homes came into the market via new listings, almost 20% more homes exited the market via home sales. So the net is less inventory, which means upward pressure on pricing. That said, when we look at pending sales, we see that we started the year at 310 pending sales for the week. That's down 4.3% from the same week last year. Now, pending sales is a leading indicator for homes sold. A home goes pending about a month or 5 weeks before it becomes a home sold. So if pending sales is south of last year's numbers, even though homes sold this week is north of last year's numbers, it means we should expect homes sold to fall in line and even dip below last year's numbers in the month ahead. So at the moment, yes, home sales are drastically outpacing new listings, but a month from now, we should see home sales falling behind new listings, at least relative to last year, i.e., uncertainty as to where the market is headed right now. When we put it all together, we get active listings, and active listings start the year at 3,921 active listings on the San Diego market right now. And that's a whopping 25.27% higher than the same week last year. So even though home sales are outpacing new listings this week, listings have built up enough over the winter that right now we have over 25% more active listings on the San Diego market than the same time last year. That's a lot of inventory. A lot of inventory suggests downward pressure on pricing, but don't get too excited yet. Because when we look at weeks of supply, we see that we're starting the year at 10.8 weeks of supply on the San Diego market, and that's only 1.2 weeks of supply more than the same time last year. I can pull this away. You can see last year's the orange line. We're not that much higher than we were this week last year. So even though there's significantly more inventory on the market, there is almost as much demand to match that inventory. In other words, there are more homes on the market, but there are more buyers trying to buy those homes. And when supply and demand equal each other, that's when you get price stasis. So I'm not surprised that a lot of agents in San Diego are not quite sure where the market's headed. Looking at these statistics, I'm not quite sure where the market is headed. If you're planning to buy a home in San Diego in 2025, I suggest you stay close to the channel for all the latest market updates and check out my 2025 California Home Buyer's Guide for all of the latest information you need to make sure you're making the most informed buying decisions in California in 2025.